Papa.
Hey Sharpies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back, welcome back. What's up, what's up? So I'm doing this video because I feel like I have gotten a lot of questions recently on how to become a flight attendant, on like the steps, the process. I did a video like this before, but you know, new year, some things change, some things stay the same. So I'm going to give you a little bit of insight on all of that and answer some frequently asked questions that I've been getting, because it's a lot to respond to the same kind of like question in the comments. So I'm going to try to answer some of those here and now. All right, so first I'm going to go into how to get a job as a flight attendant. Now, there's this myth out there where you have to go to like some sort of school before you apply to be a flight attendant. That's absolutely false. You don't have to have any prior aviation anything before applying to be a flight attendant. You could literally be somebody off the street. And I mean that literally. Now, I mean that literally and figuratively because there are job requirements that you will have to follow, but you don't have to have any prior background experience in order to become a flight attendant, okay? So how to get the job, because we got to start somewhere. So to get the job, you just have to see who's hiring. Well, Erica, how do we know who's hiring? Baby, Google. Google gonna give you all the answers. I mean that like legit. When I got my first flight attendant job, I literally Googled, searched on my computer, things that I can do with a teaching degree. That's how I found my job, and all of these things and options will come up. So anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. So in order to get the job, you have to first apply for the job. To apply for the job, you got to know who's hiring. Now, there are a few Facebook groups out there that will give you like the inside like scoop on when another airline is hiring, so you can be prepared for that. Before you even start this, make sure you have a resume, babes. You will need a resume, and I would tailor your resume to highlight your customer service experiences or any experiences you have working with people in general. I would tailor your resume to that. Not saying make stuff up, not saying put fake stuff on there. I'm just saying tailor your resume to customer service, because as a flight attendant, primarily you're there for safety, but you're doing a whole lot of customer service. A whole lot. So you find out who's hiring, you put in your application. Some airlines will require you to do like one of those like hiring quizzes where you just got to answer a bunch of questions. Like, what am I trying to think? It's like it's like the little hiring quiz. Like if you've ever applied to like a retail job, like there's like a quiz that you got to do, and you just answer random questions. Some airlines do require that, not all of them. Some of them have a multi-step processes. Sometimes you have a phone interview before your face-to-face interview. Sometimes you have a virtual interview and not an in-person interview. Sometimes there's a group interview. So I would recommend whatever airline you are shooting for, you need to do research on them specifically and on their processes specifically. I'm a flight attendant. I've only applied to 3 airlines ever, and I've worked at 2 of them. The other one, I just canceled my interview because I got the interview with my dream airline, and that's where I wanted to go. And so I didn't need to interview anywhere else because I kind of put all my eggs in one basket. If you don't want to be like me, you don't have to put all your eggs in one basket. You could literally apply to 7 airlines who are hiring and go through all of their interview processes, and that's okay. And then you need to research the airline. And I keep putting emphasis on that because a lot of people start working at airlines and they have no idea what the airline is about, and they've somehow made it through the entire interview process, and then they're learning all these new things once they get on the line. Don't blindside yourself. Learn about the airline before you choose to work there, so that you can make sure that it's the best fit, so that you can make sure that it is the best fit for you. You got me? We here? We good? Okay. So you put in your application, you go through all of these different hoops, you have an interview. My biggest tip for your interview process is to know the airline that you are interviewing for. You can have personality out the hoo-ha. You could be the nicest person ever and your smile could reach 20 miles. But when they ask you questions about like why you want to work here, I wouldn't suggest giving a generic answer. you need to speak to that airline. When I got hired at the airline that I am at, I did a research. I went online and I know this, and this. So when they're like, oh, why do you want to work here? I'm like spouting out all of these facts that I've researched about this company. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that helped me get hired. Now, did everybody probably do that? Probably not. I'm not saying it's something you have to do, but I'm saying I suggest it because it makes you look like a better candidate. And why not help yourself out? You feel me? Next, please have some kind of personality. Smile, tell good stories, even make them laugh a little bit. I had my interview, the person who was interviewing me, baby, we was on that virtual interview and she was laughing up a storm. They could not get enough of me. You gotta sell it. And I sold it and I got a job. So yeah, there's that. But overall, I would say the process of becoming a flight attendant is not, I'm not gonna say it's easy, I'm not gonna say it's simple, but it's simple steps. You find the airline that you wanna work for, or you find an airline that is hiring, you put in your application, and then you have to go through steps. There might be 3 steps before you even get an interview. There might be 2 steps before you get an interview. You might put in your application and go straight to an interview. There will be multiple types of interviews: group interviews, virtual interviews, one-on-one in-person interviews. That I can't really give you any information on that. You just kind of got to roll with the punches. And then you do your interview and you hope to get a CJO, which is a conditional job offer. And then from there you go off to training. I will do a separate video on flight attendant training and what that was like for me. And there's also videos up on my channel of my 2 training, that was 4, of my, I was about to do it again, of my 2 training experiences. Dear Lord, I can't talk today. Okay, now on to some frequently asked questions. I always get asked, do I have to pay for my own hotel room? No. Nobody on the flight crew, pilots, flight attendants, the same. You are not required to pay for your own hotel room. You're also not required to get your own transportation to and from the airport from the hotel. All of that is contractual. Like, they have contracts with the hotels, they have contracts with whoever's picking you up. And so all of that is already pre-planned, so you do not have to plan that out or pay for it nonetheless. So I did get asked this question on one of my more recent YouTube videos. It was, I got a little notes list down here, don't judge me. Do I ever get bored of being a flight attendant? Or can I ever see myself getting bored? And a short answer, no. I don't see myself getting bored. The job in itself is redundant in the sense of I show up to the airport, I work a flight, I go to a hotel, I go to sleep, I show up to the airport, I work a flight, I go to the hotel, and then eventually on the last day, I show up to the airport, I go to work, and then I go home. That piece of it is redundant, but when I tell you the passengers keep you on their toes, more than likely you're working with a whole nother crew that you've never met. So you're going to a city that you may have been to before, and maybe there's something else you want to see in that city, or maybe you're going to a new city that you haven't been to and you want to explore. And so I don't see myself getting bored. I'm 2 years in, and although I feel myself sometimes getting burnt out just because I work a lot, and I work a lot by choice. I like to have lots of monies, so I work a lot, but I don't see myself getting bored with it. The next question I got was, you want to become a flight attendant straight out of high school, do they look at your grades? Well, a lot of airlines have minimal age requirements, and because you're serving alcohol, I feel like most airlines, now don't quote me because I don't know about everybody, I am not the knower of all things, but I know that most airlines you have to be 20, turning 21 soon, or you have to be 21. So I don't think that you could be a flight attendant right out of high school. But once you meet the age requirements, no, they don't look at any transcripts or grades or anything like that. Someone wanted to know what my process of becoming a flight attendant was like. And like I told y'all, for my first airline, I Googled it. And then while at that airline, other airlines started hiring. And so I knew the airline that I wanted to work for, but I did look into some others as like backup plans. I ended up applying to 3 airlines, and the first one that I was working with, and then 2 more while I was working there, and I ended up working for one, and I just didn't finish my interview process with the other. And that's pretty much my process. And I went to training in Dallas for a month, and then I came home, and I got based in Denver for 2 months, and then I got based in Houston, which is where I currently live, and I've just been showing up and going to work, as you guys can see. Do I think that becoming a flight attendant is super hard, and are they very picky? Each airline is looking for something different. So yes, in a sense, they're picky. Do I know exactly what they're looking for? No. I don't know what they're looking for, but I will say they are looking, they have in mind the type of person I would say that they want to hire. And so some airlines you would fit in great with, other airlines you wouldn't. Like at my airline, it's very lax in a lot of sense. So we get a little bit more freedom and flexibility. Our airline is strict. Like we have rules, but I feel like we're not as strict as a lot of the other airlines that are out there. So it just depends on what that airline, pretty much whoever is doing the interview, what they're looking for, because everybody has I don't want to say everybody has an agenda in mind, but there could be a nicer interviewer and there could be a not so nice interviewer, and you could have did great with the other one, but you got interviewer B, and I think that's just kind of what happens. Like that's the world we live in. Do I think it's super hard to become a flight attendant? No. Training will test you. You will be probably tired, sleep deprived, and you're gonna get a lot of information thrown at you all at once, and you will get overwhelmed and you will get exhausted. One of my best tips for that is get a tribe, get a friend, get a group of people, somebody or people who can hold you accountable, people who can help you, like-minded people that have the same goals. And I say that because not everybody shows up to do the same thing. Some people show up because they really want the job. Some people show up because they just want the travel benefits, and someone told them that this is a good job where they get to travel. So just give it like-minded people and people who are going to be supportive of you, and your training experience is going to fly by and it's going to be great. And again, I'll make a whole training video, just so I can get into the nitty-gritty of that, because I'm not going to do that here. Another question I get asked a lot is, do you have to live where you're based? No, you don't have to live where you're based. In most mainline airlines, like the big ones, they allow you to commute. Some airlines have commuter policies. Other airlines don't have commuter policies. Like the airline that I work for, we have a great commuter policy. And so if you did live out of base and you had to commute to work your reserve blocks or your trips, if you couldn't make it, you're not penalized for that. I don't really know the ins and outs of the other airlines and if they have commuter policies, but if you are looking to be a flight attendant, that's something I would definitely look into if you know that there's no bases for that airline where you live. And every airline has different and similar bases, so that's just something you would also have to look up. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. That is just some of the frequently asked questions that I get and just some tips on how to become a flight attendant. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Also, if you have any more questions that you would like me to answer, go ahead and comment them below and I will try to gather them all up. And once I have enough, I'll do another video answering all the questions that I get, because I know that there's a lot of information out there, a lot of misinformation out there. And if I could be a lovely tour guide to your dream to being a flight attendant, I would absolutely love that. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.